Hi, I'm Shayna.
And I'm Tracey, and we are the creators of The Pump a Dump Show. We are moms, but we were women first. And in this podcast, we explore what it's like to be a woman who also happens to be a mom.
Before we were moms, we were women. Before we were moms, we were chilling. We were pumping and dumping. We're talking about something. This is the Pump a Dump Podcast.
Hello, breeders. Full disclosure, before this episode, we had some big audio issues that we didn't realize had happened until after we had already recorded the entire episode. So I just wanted to let you know up front that the audio you're about to hear is not necessarily the quality that we're super proud of. And you live and learn from your mistakes as you do your own podcast. And so we just wanted to say we're sorry, but we loved our interview and would hate for you not to be able to hear it. So here we go with episode 15 and apologies. Welcome back.
Welcome back, breeders.
This week we have a brand new dad.
Brand new motherfucker.
Do you remember when your motherfucker was brand new?
I sure do.
I remember mine just laughing when the baby slid out.
Oh, no. I think mine just had like the same expression for like 3 months, which was just sort of wide-eyed terror at me and the baby.
Sure. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
In those first couple months.
And we thought it would be so fun to like talk to a dad and just get a dad's perspective on being a new parent.
Right. I mean, we obviously like from the depths of our being know and feel what that's like, and we'll never forget.
No, but we don't really know what it feels like to be a dad, nor will we ever, frankly. But
sure,
we're going to ask some deep and thoughtful questions.
Absolutely.
Trying to get the real skinny from him.
Also, this particular dad is pretty special because he is an author, he is a comedian, he is a storyteller, he is an actor on a very popular television show, and he lives right here in Denver because he loves Denver. And he and his wife just had a little tiny baby, so he is the perfect person to talk to about new fatherhood.
Do you remember any I'm trying to think of the funny things that my husband did. I remember one time he was so tired and he was holding the baby and I think he was feeding her, but he wasn't paying attention. And I think she like was asking for more food and he just patted her on the head. Like he forgot.
He forgot that there was more food in his hands.
Yeah.
I remember Chris used to put Georgia on. He loved to wear in that Moby wrap.
Uh-huh.
And he would cook dinner and he would play video games while bouncing on that bouncy blue ball, like the exercise ball, to get her to stop crying. So he would just constantly bounce on that ball with her on his chest and just play video games to pass the time.
That's hilarious. Oh, and my husband became the master swaddler. Like that was,
oh yeah, because
Evie had reflux, and so there was a lot of screaming and projectile spitting. And then we read Happy's Baby.
Oh yeah, Happy's Baby on the Block. That saved our lives with Georgia.
Saved our lives too. But I think like as a dad, it was so, I feel he had like a practical handbook in front of him and all the lights just went on. He was like, okay, I have rules and I have directions and I'm going to do it. And he was like the best swaddler ever, way better than I ever was. I mean, he could wrap that girl up like a freaking burrito. Yeah.
Chris did that too. Yeah. That was definitely a dad skill.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that book was so great. And then I had another kid and that book was shit. That book didn't work at all. Because we thought we had it figured out. We were like, let's have another baby right now.
Right now.
And that book failed us hard on the second one.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
But it worked. Maybe it just works for girls. I don't know.
What? Oh, maybe.
Happiest
baby. Possible. Nothing works for boys.
Nothing works for tiny boys.
And then I was reading, I was having so much trouble breastfeeding, which we've talked about, but I was reading the La Leche League book. What's it called? The Womanly Art of
Feel
Breastfeeding.
bad about yourself if you can't breastfeed book.
Literally lying in bed, having trouble breastfeeding already, just crying reading this book, feeling so bad about myself. And he just walked over, took the book, and threw it away. And it was like the sexiest thing he's ever done. He was like,
hot.
Why are you reading this? These people are mean and you're feeling terrible and you're not. And just got rid of it.
Well, man, nice. I do want to talk. That is a whole other episode. We have to talk about breastfeeding sometime because it is such a strange, amazing thing.
Traumatic.
I knew this
beautiful.
woman. She was I knew this woman who once said, breastfeeding is just like the most unnatural thing. And I was like, actually, it's like the most natural thing.
Well, a lot of people don't find it natural.
No, but she also came from this, I think, a different generation where just like there was a whole generation before us that just didn't feel like it was what you did. They would have
Someone else do it?
No, they had people right from the start, like night nurses and formula feeding right away. Like there's just been a lot of different philosophies throughout time. But I just always thought that was such a funny thing to say because like if there was something that I had to name, if you were like, what's the most like some of the most natural things, just like organic, it would be like putting your own breast in a child's mouth. Not that that's easy for people. I'm just saying it's definitely not.
And I remember when it did work for me, the look of like awe and wonder on my husband's face. He was just so proud and mystified. And I can't imagine like seeing your wife do this thing, what that must feel like.
Right.
And just kind of standing there staring.
Well, and we often talk about how terrifying it is to be the motherfucker in a birthing situation because it's so not happening to them. And sometimes I just think it's so much worse for them. We're kind of in it and they're just terrified. So today we're going to talk to a brand new motherfucker and get his take on what it's like
to be a dad.
We got a special guest. Special guest.
Our special guest today is comedian, actor, author Adam Cayton-Holland, who is also a brand new dad.
Yeah.
Brand spanking.
That's my favorite credit.
So far out of all of those.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brand new dad.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
My pleasure.
How many weeks is your son?
Oh, he's 13 weeks.
Okay.
But he's about to be 3 months in a couple days. You know how that works.
You're breaking the rules.
I don't think you stop months, and I don't think you start months until like 5 or 6, don't you?
Yeah, but 3 months is so pivotal for me because you're getting out of the 4th trimester, so I'm really eager to land.
Listen to you with your 4th trimester talk.
I'm sick of white noise. I'm sick of swaddling.
Oh.
I want the boy to be a boy.
Oh. You have a really long time.
I know.
Gosh, I guess we can stop this podcast.
Really?
That's amazing.
The white noise makes me nuts. I feel
Really?
I feel like it's a very I don't know. It crosses my wires pretty severely.
I sleep to white noise now.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never done that.
There's other options. Like you can do raindrops, or is the white noise the only thing that'll help him sleep?
He seems to really prefer the white noise.
Is he
My wife has got a very good combo. There's apps and you can sort of adjust this and that, and she's found it's a cross between crickets and rainfall and white noise and
lightning.
Yeah, exactly.
All at once.
But for me, I don't know. I just want the white noise gone.
Oh.
When I leave the room and there's no white noise, I'm like, yeah, that's great.
Right.
Is he sleeping with you guys or?
He'll start in his crib and then because we're watching TV or whatever at night, and then we'll bring him in a little bassinet right next to the bed. So he's still
okay.
Yeah.
So you're hearing the white noise is what I'm getting at.
Yes,
okay.
exactly.
And
We have multiple white noise machines throughout the house.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, wow. So there's quadrants.
There's
of
one.
white noise.
There's one in our bedroom. There's one in his nursery, and then there's one in the basement because he naps down there sometimes too.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're really going.
That's
for
a really big. And so, was this something you guys came up with because he was having trouble chilling, or did you have it prepared before he came home from the hospital?
He was having trouble chilling, and day 1 or 2, we tried it and he went right to sleep. And so we're just new parents. So that's the cure-all. But what I'm learning, as you guys I'm sure know, is just when you think you've got it figured out, it just changes drastically.
Yes.
So the last 4 days were hellish, and then yesterday he just sort of clicked and he started taking 3-hour naps a day. The other night he slept 8 hours.
Woo.
8 hours at night.
At 3 months.
Yeah.
Good job.
That was huge.
That's great.
Huge.
But it's after 4 days of irate screaming, nothing calms him down, no sleeping. So you're just like, we're the worst parents ever. This is brutal. And then suddenly he's a magic baby again.
And now you're like, we've got everything figured out. We're experts.
We're the genius parents.
These highs and lows.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so take us back. Take us back to your beautiful pregnant wife.
Yeah.
And
Katie.
Yes, Katie.
Yeah.
She's lovely. And what that experience was like for you. Did she have a good pregnancy?
We had a very tense pregnancy. This might be an overshare, but Katie tells the story all the time. Okay, cool. So basically at 24 weeks, she went in for like a routine checkup, and they did like a cervical length measurement because she had a cone surgery back in the day and blah, blah, blah. So they were like, we should just check. And it was like non-existent. They were like, your cervix is gone. Like basically you're going to give birth any minute.
It's just going to fall out.
Gosh.
Really just minutes, like say they rushed her right to the hospital. So we're in the neonatal unit thinking the baby's going to come out at 24 weeks and 2 days. And they just scared the shit out of us. And, Katie called me. I was at lunch with my mom. She's like, they're sending me over to the hospital. So the next 3 days were just sheer panic as we're having doctors run us through worst case scenarios of a 24-week-old birth. And
oh, my God.
We're freaking out. And then lo and behold, like nothing changes over the course of the 3 days. They take us out of the very intense unit to a chiller unit. And after 3 days, they're like, okay. And we get this kind of one old school doctor, and he's like, this is just what your cervix is doing, and it's holding, so we'll let you go. And long story short, it held out till 37 weeks and a couple days, which is full term.
Yeah.
But from that point on, we had no idea when the baby was going to come or if it would fall out any minute. So she was quasi bed resting.
I was going to say, she just really...
Yeah. So it was just this harrowing, scary experience that ultimately wound up fine, but it was anything but chill.
Oh,
and I had road gigs and stuff, and I tried to cancel as much as I could.
Right.
But some I had to take, and those dates were just terrifying.
Sure.
But long story short, magic cervix held. That's what it was needed to do.
So did she go into labor herself then at 37?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you were home with her?
I was home with her in the middle of the night. Her water broke. And so she'd also had, I'm getting into such detail, but I'm a new dad, so I'm all obsessed with
excited.
Yeah. She had a previous test to test for some level of strep that women can often get, and she tested positive for that. So when the water breaks, it means you got to go in and get some, antibiotic fluid so the baby doesn't get strep. So we had to be in for a day that we didn't need to be in the hospital.
Oh, that sucks.
Instead of the chill, fun, like, be at home, let's go for a walk, let's get you dilated. It was more just like right to the hospital.
Also, that's actually not chill and fun. It might seem like as the alternative to what you were going through, it would be chill and fun, but not always.
It was part of our birth plan that we didn't get access. But then we went in and she wanted to do a natural birth, and she had a little bit of Pitocin to help the contractions along, but then she just totally, no painkillers, natural birthed it. I've been saying on stage, she was like a Dust Bowl mom. She was just like, I don't have time for medicine. I need ranch hands. Like, she was a badass. She just nailed it.
Did her cervix come out with the baby?
Yep. The cervix
Never
came out. A new one grew in its place. They say it's
great.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Regenerative cervixes.
As
right.
everyone
Livers
knows.
and cervixes.
So she's got a brand new cervix, and they say for baby number 2, it'll be perfect.
Oh,
Perfect.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And so I want to know more about your experience watching your wife having natural childbirth.
It was great, actually. I was very, you learn as the husband, whatever you think you wanted for a childbirth does not matter at all. So I quickly, I wanted to know the sex. She was like, no, we're not going to know the sex. And I was like, okay. And then I quickly adopted that strategy and embraced it, and ditto with natural birth. I'm a guy who'd be like, I want teams of doctors and painkillers, and but once I started getting on board and going to the classes, I was very intrigued, and so I was proud of her. I got on her side. I didn't want her to have Pitocin, and we delayed that as long as we could. I was a good birth partner, I think.
Did you have a doula or anything?
We did.
You
we had
did.
a doula. Yeah.
Cool.
Did you like your doula?
I very much like my doula, and we lucked out because you have to have 3 births before you're a licensed doula. So you have to have 3 practice births. So we were her 3rd. So we paid her like $200.
Oh, nice!
And we had this pretty much expert doula
who's
helping
so
us out.
Excited and new.
It was great. So that was I would absolutely recommend doulas to anybody because it takes the pressure off of you.
It does. Like, why? I mean, from a dad's point of view, why?
Because she knew how to do this type of massage, and she would lead, hey, do you want to try this position? Do you want to try that position? Whereas I could do that, but I feel like I'd be more annoying my wife.
Yeah, she would have been like, shut the
She's like, I'm good in this position. Why are you taking me to another position? Whereas the doula was kind of like, I've been through this, and why don't you go? It's just, not that my wife and I don't get along, but it was just, I don't know, something about her energy and experience was a lot more valid than what I had to offer in that moment.
And did you feel marginalized at all?
No,
or
not at all. Not at all.
Just grateful you weren't in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. And then you could just be there, like, at your wife's ear, helping and holding her hand and not having to drive. It just felt like I was a passenger in the car with my wife, and the doula and the midwife are driving, and we're just kind of along for the ride.
Now, what on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of nerves, how did you feel on the inside? Especially, I mean, you can equate it sometimes as a performer when there's those certain shows you walk on stage, you're like, holy shit, I'm going to pee my pants in front of everyone. Like, did you have that? What was... I
gotta say, I mean, I had fears in the back of my head of the worst, like I think anyone does. Yeah. Like, I remember I read, Hemingway, Farewell to Arms. The ending of that book is like the baby dies and the wife dies and he walks out of the hospital. And
you're just like, I don't remember that.
It's awful.
I read it when I was like 18.
It's
I had
awful.
No point of reference. Okay.
After like boating across Lake Geneva to like get out of the war, he and his pregnant wife, and then they die. Geez. It's the worst ending. And so
that's what you were thinking about.
Yeah, I was just like, this can go that way. So like that's somewhere in the back of my head. But truthfully, they'd been so nerve-wracking with the kiddo being premature or not that he came out 37 weeks in 1 day. So it's like once we got to that, I was like, we're full term. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're fucking full term. So I was riding that high. That was probably my biggest thought that like, this is not a, he doesn't have scales anymore. He's not a fish baby. Like he's developed into a human baby.
Yeah.
I feel like when I've talked to other motherfuckers about like watching babies be born, like one of my friends, my friend Dan, has this story about how he was with one leg and his wife's mother had the other leg, and he said it was just a good like 2 hours of smiling and staring at a vagina and then looking at the mother and smiling and then just looking back and staring at the vagina.
Why is the mother in that room?
My mother was not in the room, but other people do a lot of times, I guess, have their mothers.
Yeah.
So it was just the two of you and the doula, the midwife?
Yeah. And my older sister came and visited several times and brought us food, but we kind of told both sets of parents, like, we'll let you know when we need you here. Just no beef or anything. It was just kind of...
Oh, so they weren't even at the hospital?
No.
Oh, that's nice.
No, not at all. And I texted them like the weight and the kids born, and then they all came flocking.
Oh, that's so fun.
Flocking in, but we gotta just be there alone.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, because I didn't want to have to, as a dad, I think that is your responsibility, is to like go to the waiting room and tell the family what's going on and check in. And I love my parents a lot. And Katie was even like, you're going to be going out there a ton because my dad would want info all the time.
Right.
He's a lawyer and he just wants stats and medicine and give it to me. So we just kind of told him, let us handle this. Let us be there and we'll let you know.
And they were cool about it?
Yeah. And my sister's really, she's had 3 kids, and Anna is my sister, and Katie get along well. So she was kind of the emissary from the outside world.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So then you brought this human home.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, well, it was really impressive though. There was one funny story. So she started going into more frequent contractions, but they were pretty predictable. It was like, you could watch it rise and fall, and I knew what was happening. And at some point, the doula and the midwife were taking care of her. It'd been a very consistent pattern for a while. And I was like, I needed coffee bad. So I left and I went down to the little Daz bog in the hospital. And I realized when I'm in there, I was like, I haven't been outside in 30 hours. So I walked outside and I just kind of was like, yeah, this is nice. Like, and it was like November, and I literally got like a leaf, and I was like, I'm going to take this in for Katie, like a pretty leaf. And I go back into the room, and it's just like, it's
pure chaos.
Yeah, exactly. It was just happening. I was like, oh, fuck your leaf. And like, Katie's just like, get in here. Then it was,
you had such a peaceful moment.
I know. I had this zen outdoor fall moment where I'm staring wistfully
with
towards
your coffee,
the horizon.
Too.
Yeah, yeah. And then she's in World War III up there.
Oh my god.
But then after that, it was go time. And an hour later, the baby was there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then how long did you guys stay in the hospital?
Just about another day, maybe 30 hours. It's all a blur.
I know. Yeah. Did you stay with her?
Yeah. I didn't leave.
So what was that like laying, seeing your wife in her bed and you're in the same room, and it's, those quiet moments in a hospital when it's...
It was great, but no one told us until after the fact that apparently day 2 is notorious for the kid screams and doesn't sleep. Like day 1's kind of, they're so exhausted from the journey. And then day 2 is kind of where they wake up to the cold reality of the world. So we thought we were the shittiest parents immediately day 2 in the hospital because the kid was just like very hard to console. And then afterwards, some nice nurse was just like, yeah, that's classic day 2 situation. We're like, really could have used that information.
I love this. Like the second time you've said, like, because the baby's screaming and crying that you're horrible parents.
I know. Well,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not you. It's not you.
I'm trying to teach Katie that too. It's like, it's not you. We tried a new swaddle the other day, and that started his 4-day just weird adjustment
because it was a switch.
And well, that's what Katie's like. She's like, I shouldn't have switched the swaddle. I was just like, well, he's too big for the other one you had to. And she's blaming herself. We're very, we take it all very personally right now.
Sure.
We're not tough parents quite yet.
You can't be tough on a 3-month-old.
Right.
I mean, that's not the time for tough love.
Well, and also I see my sister with her 3rd child, and you become this hardened, like, whatever, who cares? So, and I look forward to that, but currently we're very much first nervous parents.
Oh, that's so nice.
So what are some things that you're surprised about that you thought would be true, or you thought you guys would be all in for, that would be a certain way and they're just not? Especially as a dad, is there something that surprised you about yourself or your relationship to Katie or your son?
I don't know. I mean, I wish I had a better answer for that, but truthfully, I've been very looking forward to this, and I'm pretty ready for it. And I love my nieces and nephews, and in fact, like took care of Henry for the first 2 years, a couple times a week. So I have a lot of baby experience. So I wasn't that surprised by anything. I guess just how advanced and smart my child is, and just how mine is so much better than everyone else's out the gates surprised me, because I thought he would have to learn, but he's just like, he knows how to do everything, and he's better.
He knows how to hate
baby.
a swaddle.
He's sorting through the recycling. He throws a fastball already, like 65 miles an hour.
He's coding.
Yeah. He likes like good scotches, not even shitty scotch, like good.
Well, I mean, that's just his pedigree. Good job.
He's a really pedigree child, and that's not surprising, but it's encouraging.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, sure. You want a future with him.
Yes, exactly.
He's nice to be around.
Little Malcolm man.
Oh my gosh! And so let's talk blowouts. How's that going?
What does that mean?
When they blow out up the back of their little tiny diaper, and then it's just like buttered popcorn smelling yellow mess everywhere.
Yeah, just kind of like a rich mustard.
Yeah, it is.
I would have killed for buttered popcorn smell.
Oh, I always felt like it was like burnt buttered popcorn. Oh.
They say when they start eating the real foods, that's when it starts to get real nasty.
You know what? It's nasty is when they're like 3 and they're like Coke can sized turds in their diaper.
Truck diaper.
And they're like, what the fuck just came out of my child?
No, it's like,
and you have to change it.
Like adult sized poops, and you don't understand where it came from.
Yeah, it's just like a big dog, like a large dog.
Yeah, like a true dump.
He'll go like a couple days without pooping, so they're true blowouts when it happens. And honestly, you're just so relieved that he's pooping and not squirming around anymore. But the other day I changed him, and he puked, peed, and pooped in one moment. And I was like, this kid's the next
so
Bo
talented.
Jackson. He can multitask. He's going to play multiple sports.
Now, did you puke, or are you good with the bodily fluids, or?
I'm okay with it. Our big thing is baths. We like to take baths, and I just hop in with him. Like I hold him in the bath, and Katie sits right there, and it's the best. It's as adorable as he really likes the water. But the first time you get him in the bath, he's just peeing everywhere. Yeah, he's a very Olympic track swimmer. And that kind of bothered me because I'm just sitting in his pee water. But
it's antimicrobial, isn't it?
I think so. Isn't it supposed to be clean? I never know what they say about pee.
I don't know. This kid chugs Mountain Dew Code Red. Doesn't feel clean. It's pretty like X Games feeling.
It's neon.
Yeah, it's really an unhealthy hue.
He's got to balance the scotch with something.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Scotch and Code Red is his dream.
It might be part of the poop problem. Just a little tip from a mom.
From holding in that poop for all those days with that Code Red. So, and how is breastfeeding going for you? How are your breasts?
Sensitive,
sure,
yet prolific. No, Katie nailed it from the get-go. They bring in like lactation consultants, and she's very good at it. We'll pump. You guys are the women behind Pump and Dump. I just am blown away. who has time to pump? Like, I feel like I'm not a good partner because I feel like there's these perfect partners who are like, we've got 3 bottles for the evening and you will get up for the first shift and I will naturally breastfeed it. But we never have time to pump.
Yeah.
If we have 1 bottle for when she's going to the gym or something like that, we're lucky.
Yeah.
You never have time or you don't ever have enough milk?
Never have enough milk.
Okay.
And, so when the kid's down, she wants to have a glass of wine or something, it's like, okay, you're not pumping then. I just feel like there's these other perfect couples out there that have arsenals of breast milk ready to roll.
In all these years of doing the show, we've certainly met like every kind of mom. And there are these moms that we call natural born breeders. And not only do they have like beautiful pregnancies, easy births, but they can fill their freezer with breast milk.
Yeah.
And neither of us were like that at all, but there is such a variance for sure.
Yeah, I remember an old friend of mine in college, and I called him like right after Evie was born, and he was like, "Oh yeah, and we have gallons, milk jugs,
we're donating,
like, frozen in our freezer, and we would do happy dances if I got like 2 inches of milk out of my boob."
Right.
Yeah.
I was talking to my friend Maggie about this, and she was saying like when she had twins. And they went to a wedding with their dear friend. She was in her mid-20s, and they got just wrecked. Her and her husband did. And she felt so bad because she like pumped because she needed to pump anyway to get it out. But she had it, and then she's like pouring this breast milk down the toilet. Oh. And then her mother told her, she was like, if you're not too drunk to pump, that milk's fine. And then Maggie's like, that changed my whole attitude on that. I was like,
yes.
Yeah.
It's funny. The name of our show obviously is The Pump and Dump. And we get many comments all the time that are like, either, we're being irresponsible or that
don't
you absolutely don't ever pour it out. If you are not feeling a buzz or,
right.
Your baby's not going to feel it. But so we always say it may or may not be true.
Oh, there you go.
Cut it with some cow's milk.
Cut it with some cow's milk.
Camel milk's the new thing.
Is that really?
Yeah, new dad. Camel milk's the new.
Really?
Yeah, it's supposed to be really good for you.
I think everybody's all high on oat milk, which I don't like.
Oat
don't
milk.
like the oat milk.
Is that the same as goat milk?
No, it's not.
Oats, like oatmeal.
I'm super confused now.
So she's pumping. So she's trying to pump. Is she working? Is she going back to work?
No, she's going to be a stay-at-home mom.
Great.
Just from the jump, that's what we're doing.
Great.
Which is great. So no, she's not good. This is her new life.
Yeah.
So but you're still trying to balance pumping with feeding. And because I guess I'm not hearing that you don't necessarily have a lot of milk, so you're not getting up in the middle of the night to like feed the baby.
No, she's getting up for every feeding. And that's what I was trying to say, is that I feel bad because the baby eats so much and we don't find the time to pump that I literally cannot get up. There's not a bottle in the fridge. Mm-hmm. So I do that half-hearted dad, like, you okay, babe? And she's like, just fuck you, I'm going to go feed the baby.
Yeah.
And then I just roll back over and go to sleep.
That's nice of you to check, though.
Well, it's literally the least I can do.
I'm sure, exactly. So you're helping as little as possible for the feedings.
For the feeding.
But are you like the expert diaper changer?
Yeah,
What's happening?
Yeah. We're doing cloth diapers. I'm good at that.
Okay.
I'm around because, I have the luxury of being a comic and a writer and stuff. So, like, I have to go to San Francisco on Thursday for 3 days. Mm-hmm. That sucks. She's just on her own.
Is this the first time? Or
no, I've left once for 2 days for another gig in D.C.
And how did that go for everybody?
I'm proud of the boy. I feel like he stepped up and was just perfect. And it went good for her. But Katie's also kind of shy. And she's just she's always been sort of a woman alone. She doesn't have a ton of friends. She has a ton of friends, but she's not overtly social. So she's
fine being home.
She's fine being home. She wants to be home. And I'm just like, ask your friends to come over so you can shower and this and that. She's like, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that battle.
She was?
She was totally fine. She did it. Her sister came over and helped her for a couple hours and it was 2 days. But that's the hard part, is that, like, you got to leave your kiddo for 3 days. Mm-hmm. And I was very relieved that he remembered me. He was just starting to like smile, like just the recognition smile. And I was like, I'm losing ground. I've worked for 2 months for that exact moment. But now he's all smiles when he sees us.
Well, that brings us to an interesting thing that we get asked because we're moms and we travel as comics. Any interview that we've really ever had by any journalist or writer or interview or radio show, it is always, how do you leave the kids? How do you do what you do while having a baby? So I just want to know if this is the first time anyone's ever asked you that question.
Absolutely. And Yeah, way to reverse the patriarchy, you guys.
Thank you.
That's a rude. I mean, it is a rude question. But
It's
like,
super rude.
how do women leave the house?
No,
without
I mean,
a
they're seriously
child?
like, what happens to the children?
Yeah, who's
when you guys
taking
go?
care of
And
your
we're
babies?
Like, we're married, and also people leave the home all the time.
Right.
We have caregivers. We
Yeah.
hire a babysitter.
But
It's
it's absolutely the number one question.
That's disappointing.
But so far, you have not been asked that question.
Not once.
That's confirming our bitterness.
Go
Great.
figure.
Not once.
Not
Exciting.
once.
I was kind of expecting in this, maybe in the last couple of years, that there would have been a shift. But no one cares that you're leaving the boy.
Most people will ask, does your wife work as well? And I'll say, no, we're lucky she's going to be a stay-at-home mom. And they're like, oh, great. And then that's just settled.
Right.
Yeah, no one's asked me
I mean,
how
and to the
do it.
world's credit, I mean, everyone's much more comfortable when the mom is home with the children.
Yes. Indeed.
Unfortunately, I don't think
Sure.
those sexual mores are going to change, but
Right.
I don't know. I
Sexual
grew up
mores,
reading a
but-
cartoon strip called Adam, where he was a stay-at-home dad. Remember that?
No.
Yeah, maybe I was into it because I was very into comic strips. I wanted to draw comics when I was a kid, but then I wasn't a good enough artist. But I really wanted to do that. I wanted to draw like daily comic strips.
I
So
love
I read everything. I'd get the paper every morning and just read every single comic. And there was one called Adam. It's still around, I think.
About a stay-at-home dad.
Stay-at-home dad.
Oh, I'm into it.
Named Adam.
where do comics go now? Because there's no newspapers.
There's newspapers. They're far
There's
less.
newspapers?
I still have a subscription to the physical Denver
Denver
Post.
Post.
You do.
That land. I'm old
Not just
school.
on Sundays, like every day?
Every day.
So you're from here, right?
Uh-huh.
This is a little nostalgic, but do you remember? I remember the Sunday Rocky Mountain News that
Sure.
had the
Yeah.
comic section. And it
Color.
was like color.
Yeah, Sunday was color.
It was so good.
Sunday was the best day.
I don't remember Adam though. In
Uh,
that.
It's a
I don't
terrible.
remember.
It's not a good comic strip.
Well,
But
great.
that is
We
the
we
whole-
were just giving them a boost, and now we're criticizing
Anyone
them.
talking about the comic strip Adam anywhere is a major boost in Adam readership. But it is not a good comic strip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good to know.
But it is a good conceit of a stay-at-home father.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is different for moms versus dads, especially at the beginning when they're so physically
Dependent.
reliant,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I in many ways, I get the question because people are simply curious. I just want them to ask you to
Yeah. Well, I'll try to submit it in my packet.
bring it up.
Or maybe just not lead with it with us. Like here
Right.
you are in town for a sold out show that you built and wrote and created yourselves. But what
Where's
we
your
really want to
children?
know is, are your children okay?
I would prefer the hacky. So, what kind of material do you do? Joke or question to that
Sure.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or say something funny.
I get all the Colorado. Yeah, exactly. What type of comedy do you do?
Oh my gosh, I know.
Oh.
I don't know. Funny comedy.
Is there?
The
Yeah.
one that
is there
pays me.
Elizabethan? Like, what are we going for here?
Colorado, huh? What's it like with that legal weed?
Oh,
Oh my
Sure.
gosh, everywhere.
So, is there any friction between you and your wife that's happened?
The relationship has changed very quickly
Okay.
and immediately. And, I think it's normal for all parents to be all in on the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing better at being, like, we went on a date the other night,
Oh, good
What?
job.
which was great. We've done that a handful of times. But even in those moments, you talk about the kid for the
Yeah.
first 2 hours of the 3-hour or 4-hour date. So I want to get back a little bit to, like, you, me, our relationship, but it's currently mostly just.
Yeah, that's not going to happen for a
It
while.
takes a
child.
long
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
for sure.
But you
I'll-
see how families go, they blink and then the kiddo's 18 and the parents haven't talked to one another about themselves for the last 2 decades.
Oh yeah.
And then, they get divorced or whatever because they're just completely different people.
Yeah.
You do want to try to avoid
You got to
that.
work at that for sure.
Yeah, and we're both smart enough to know, like, hey, let's do dates and, like, talk to each other about grown-up things.
Other things, I know.
Yeah.
My husband and I just went on a date on Saturday for the first time in just a long time. And it was so fun because we really worked to not talk about our daughter. But then it's a long story, but we ended up at this fundraiser that we weren't planning on going to that was a prom. And so we ended up like dancing till midnight and we had the best time ever. And it was one of those dates where you're like, oh my gosh, I remember that I like you so much and remember all the fun we had together. And then at the end of the night, they played one of Evie's favorite songs and we both started crying.
Aww.
Perfect.
Perfect date.
Perfect.
It's like, it never leaves you.
Yeah, at the end of our nights, so, like, we're both half drunken, and I'm like, I didn't show you these photos. And we're
Oh.
like, yeah,
I know. We do it too.
it's
Yeah.
cute.
They're so entertaining, and every stage is so different. Like you said, you think you have something figured out, but it changes 3 weeks later. So even we just did a podcast episode with a marriage counselor to kind of talk about that resentment that happens from the women's side. You may not know about it.
What?
I'll introduce you.
Oh no!
Oh yes.
But how so much of that is simply because the wife or partner has difficulty asking for help, because we kind of put on ourselves as women that we're these super women.
Totally.
So it's, open communication is so important, and actually asking for help. Because I know that, like, if I was just mad at my husband for not doing something because he literally just didn't know what to do, the response is such a recoil. Is that the right word?
It makes sense to me.
To recoil.
Yeah.
Versus if I had just asked him to wash the bottles, he absolutely would have done it with no argument. And, I just needed the help, but it's hard to admit it. So,
well, Katie's also all she's ever wanted to be. I mean, since the day I met her, she's like, I want to be a mom. That is my goal. That's what I want in life. I don't care how you feel on the feminist spectrum of that. That's what I want. And I was like, got it. So now she's got it. And she has that added pressure on herself of like, this is what I've always wanted. I want to crush this. So in any moment of like not crushing it, she's, there's those little moments of doubts. And I'm like, this is new mom stuff. You're fine. It's not a judgment on you or me, but I think there's a little added pressure. I think she wants to be a super mom,
She has to come to our show.
She should totally come to your show.
Feel better.
Well, yeah, then she talks to my sister or her friend.
Well,
yeah. Like, exactly. It's normal shit.
Mm-hmm. So is there anything that you feel, I'm kind of leading this question, but now looking at parents and women who have kids from the point of view of a father, is there any sort of like realization that you sort of took for granted? Or
single moms? Holy shit.
Right.
We went to a breastfeeding class, and there was one woman in there who was a single mom. And that was just like, oh God, you really double duty. And even when Katie's like, hold the baby, I need to shower 15 minutes, just take him. You're like, yeah, totally. And they don't have that at all. I got a blown away respect for single moms who are working, and it's just nuts to me.
I know.
They're superheroes as far as I'm concerned.
We literally say that at our show, that single moms are superheroes. I mean, it's incredible. Or, the amount of moms that just don't have supportive motherfuckers.
Yeah, yeah.
And which is unfortunately quite common.
It's very common. You should see some of the things that people show us texts after the shows.
Dude, it's not hard to not be a piece of shit. Like I think you're just offer just literally if it's not natural to you, just like every hour set a reminder. Go ask your wife how you can help her, or text her how you can help her. Like,
that's
it's
nice.
not that fucking hard.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but I like kids a lot. So
yeah.
And your wife, apparently.
Yeah,
which is
I like my wife,
which
is super.
That's not as common
super
as you
helpful.
either.
Yeah, well, I think we're really doubling down on this thing with Mr. Malcolm, man. So,
well, we have we have a game we want to play with you. Would you be willing to
absolutely.
play? So it's basically we were trying to come up with a clever name for it. Actually, would you father?
Would you dadder?
Instead of would you rather? Because
we're
on our game this morning. Do you see where we're going with this?
Totally. And I'm along for the ride.
We'll just keep it as would you rather, but we can play with more father puns.
Father.
I like dadder.
Really? What do you like?
Would you dather?
Would you dather?
No, that sounds weird. I like would you
father.
Yeah, because the word is in there.
Sure.
Put an umlaut
Just
over
an
that
F
A.
instead. All right.
Throw an umlaut over the A.
Umlauted the game name.
No, that'd be further.
Ugh.
Right?
And it sounds like Führer.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Would you
I'm not helping. Ignore my suggestions.
No umlaut. No, just
Would you Führer? That was it was a different 1930s German game.
That's a new podcast.
A new podcast?
I'm a Jew. It's a terrible idea.
Okay, so would you father?
Great.
You tell us which one you do. First question. Would you rather clear a snotty nose with the nose Frida, or would you rather clean up a major blowout?
Oh, the nose. I'm neurotic, so it's just like, yeah, I'll get that little booger out, no problem.
Do you know what a nose Frida is?
Is that the thing you squeeze and pull the snot out?
No.
Well, you suck it out.
With your own mouth?
Yeah.
Yep.
It doesn't go in your mouth, but you use a tube and you...
Like siphoning gas out of the car.
Now I know what I'm getting you as
oh
a
my gosh,
present.
yeah, Katie, she'll be all over this. Because it's like, it was first for kind of like the hippie moms. But now people swear by it. I could never get it to work.
As long as I'm not sucking my son's snot into my mouth. If I can stop it before it comes to my mouth, then I prefer that.
But you can get my husband's the same way. He can get the boogers out. It would make him, he can get it out.
We have a little like plastic device that fits up their nostril and you squeeze it and it sucks right out.
We had an electronic one.
Oh, no.
That was just like, and the babies would freak.
I can't see how that
sucked it into this, and you'd watch the boogers like fling into the little compartment. It's totally awesome.
An electronic booger
I think
sucker?
I still have it here because I never clean out anything.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. All right.
Sorry, Marie Kondo.
I know. We'll get you there.
Oh, is that that Japanese woman? Does it bring you joy? Is that, yeah.
If it's hidden in my cabinet, it brings me joy.
I watched one episode and I was like, this show does not bring me joy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Goodbye.
I'm done.
I read the book years ago and it did bring me joy.
Did it?
We blitzkrieged our house. And like, I mean, and it was like every piece of clothing. Does this bring joy? We said joy so many times in one day, but then just hauled bags of crap out.
It's effective.
Delicious. Yeah. All right. Would you rather taste breast milk or get spit up in your mouth?
I mean, it's kind of the same thing, right?
Have you tasted breast milk?
Not Katie's.
Wait, what?
Good one.
When I used to take care of my nephew, my sister would leave bottles, and one time I fed him, and like right after feeding him, I was playing with him like an idiot, and he like puked directly into my mouth. So I kind of had both.
Oh.
You should actually taste the breast milk.
I've never tasted the breast milk.
Oh, it's sweet.
Okay. You know what? I'll go home and I'll taste the breast milk.
All right, great.
So that's the answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, breast milk.
We've convinced you.
Okay. Would you rather wash all the bottles for a year or massage your wife's feet every night for a year?
Bottles for a year. No problem. That's so easy. You
Not
just,
a feet guy?
that's like hard. I mean, you get the cramps in your hands.
I feel the same way about bottles.
I freaking hate washing bottles.
Hate washing bottles.
What's so hard about it?
But see, you're not there yet because she's breastfeeding so much. Like, you're going to get to a point where you're like, if I have to wash another goddamn bottle.
And like clean out the nipples and all the little rings. Call us when the bottles start showing up and let us know if you want to change your answer.
I'm not painting myself as an ideal husband, but I am like crazy OCD neurotic as well to an annoying degree.
Sure.
But I like things clean and I like to clean.
Oh, so you got a glimmer, like you're excited to clean the bottles.
If there's dishes in the sink,
those bottles bring you joy.
Katie will put dishes in the sink and I'm like, now I'm itchy for the rest of the day. Like those need to be washed and put in the dishwasher. Like,
does that drive her crazy?
No, she just kind of takes advantage of it. She's
I'm
like, well,
jealous. I'm kind of like that.
Yeah.
My husband is not like that.
Yeah. So a bottle is, I got no problem with it.
Okay. Would you rather get your kid a tribal barbed wire style armband tattoo?
Well, not get it for it. Like, would you rather he get one?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Or would you rather he get a Tasmanian devil with a doobie on his ankle?
Oh, God. I'll go with the barbed wire tattoo because I'd like to think Malcolm's doing it with a level of irony.
Well, then wouldn't you say that the Taz is a little more ironic?
That's just
Can tattoos be
unapologetically
ironic?
white trash. Maybe he's doing it to celebrate the Pamela Anderson movie Barbed Wire.
And in that case,
I'm very
excellent.
Cool with
it. In which case, you have to actually write that atop of it. Like I did this so that I'm celebrating the movie. I think. Okay.
And then just a giant Pamela Anderson.
Just a PA.
Yeah, PA forever.
PA forever.
Guys, it's a great movie.
I've never seen it.
No, it's terrible.
Have you seen
it? Great flick.
Great flick.
Great flick.
Pamela Anderson. All right, you may not know this yet, but would you? Well, maybe you do because of your nieces and nephews. Would you rather watch Elmo or watch Caillou?
I don't know what Caillou is.
Thank God.
So I guess default Elmo.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Call us when you get that one under your belt too.
Oh, there's so much to look forward to.
Yeah. All right. Would you rather outlaw screen time or outlaw sugar?
Screen time. I'm a Nazi about that. I really can't stand it. I want just people in general walking around with their phones bumping into things. I hope that the next generation is kind of like post social media and over it, but I see the way children react to iPads. Like, I'm not going to buy iPads, period. I mean, I maybe reserve them for travel. Like, that's it. But, I feel like I'm young and idealistic, and you guys are mocking me. Like, just you wait.
Inside, I'm like burning.
I can't do it. I hate screen time. These little automatons.
Yeah.
No, I hear you.
I couldn't be more like you, and I still let her watch the iPad.
Yeah. No, I see.
But
It depends. It depends.
It depends.
You limit the time and you figure it out. But I support your enthusiasm for sure.
And again, talk to me in 2 years,
I
and I'll
know.
be like, I haven't seen my kid's face in 3 days.
I do have this like utopic hope that by the time my daughter gets to the point where she needs a phone, like flip phones will be back in. And the whole thing, I want to install a home phone, like with actual phone wire, but you can't do it anymore without it being VoIP. It's
Really?
irritating. Yeah. I haven't heard it.
I have a friend who's a professor, and he tells me that often his freshmen in his class will not have social media, that he's seeing that trend.
Love it.
And
Yeah,
that
but
made
then
me
they do
very
Snapchat.
happy.
They don't count it as social media,
No, that's gross.
I think, and like WhatsApp and all that.
We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather have twins for your next round, or would you rather have 4 kids spread out?
Oh, God. Twins for the next round.
Well,
Okay.
you'd take 3 over 4.
Absolutely. That's just a numbers game.
But you're doubling. Well, you're not doubling.
Yeah,
but you're
I
Doing the
understand.
work for a
exponentially.
shorter period of time.
It's a hell period. You're biting the bullet for a couple years to just have 3. I only want 2.
You do.
Yeah.
Well, now
How
you're
many
gonna
does
have
Katie
3.
want?
Yeah, we'll see what my Catholic wife thinks about all that.
Would you rather your kid grow up to be a comedian or a politician?
Again, you're going to mock me, but your child's born and you're like, this kid's going to fix it all.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess at this point, I'd say politician.
Oh, that's so nice of you. I never thought that about my children.
I have a joke on stage where I talk about, like, I'm white, my wife's white, kid's going to be white. Is that what we need? I don't think so. And then I just kind of like, but then I remember my DNA is literally perfect, so I'm obligated to reproduce.
Oh,
And that's,
sure.
and that's how I feel about Mr. Malcolm.
Okay.
I mean,
He's going to change it. He's going to fix this shit
he's
show.
going to do it.
Malcolm L.
He's not going to have an iPhone.
Knock him out.
Knock him out. All right. Would you rather your kid be Adam Levine or Tom Brady?
Adam Levine. I feel like he got an undue amount of shit for just, like, I think everyone's just jealous that he's jacked. and
Oh
has a
no,
bunch
that
of
was my
tattoos.
favorite part.
Yeah.
What I didn't like was his. He needed to use his big girl voice.
I was at a Super Bowl party and we didn't even listen. We just chatted through halftime.
You
Wow.
didn't think the low point was taking off the shirt?
I think Tom Brady's a Trumper, and I bet you Adam Levine's liberal. So Adam Levine every day of the week.
Sure, I think that's true.
Oh,
I
really?
know. I
Oh, yeah,
know
no,
Tom
it's
Brady's
true,
a
yeah.
Trumper.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Belichick and the whole
Exactly.
Patriots.
Kraft. They're
sure.
all pro. They'll be accepting that invitation to the White House. So
Interesting.
I do not accept them
Okay.
as my son.
Okay. Fair enough.
And Adam Levine's a Jew, so we're good.
Yeah, he's in the tribe.
Okay. I say neither. All right. Would you rather raise your baby gender neutral or vegan?
I think they're both fine. They're both fine.
Sure.
I'm woke
Or
as fuck.
both.
Yeah, both.
You're
Vegan
woke as
neutral.
Vegan neutral.
Yeah.
That's a new thing. We just
That's
started
you.
right now.
You're vegan neutral.
I'm vegan neutral. I'm anti-vegan.
You don't have to identify as meat. Vegan neutral.
Oh, I'm into it.
Okay. Very good. All right. Last question. To earn money in college, would you rather your kid sell drugs or be a professional gamer?
Sell drugs. He'll be like Jay-Z. Like, learn the trade, turn it into a real business,
Sure.
Marry Beyonce.
marry Beyonce, and
Fix
then
the
be
world.
a legit, like, baller.
But
Yeah.
white.
But white. He's the white Jay-Z. A lot of people have been saying that about him.
About Malcolm.
About Malcolm.
Just
He's
take
like,
one.
people look at my baby, they're like, he's like the white Jay-Z. And I'm like, I know, thank you.
Best compliment ever.
Yeah.
It's all you can hope for.
Definitely drugs, but just weed. Don't go too hard. I don't want him any harder than that.
Yeah, no meth.
Yeah.
That's ugly.
No coke. Nothing like
No.
that.
But do people even deal weed anymore in Colorado? You don't deal weed.
You always read about like drug busts where people just
Oh,
are
right.
growing
Here?
way too much. Yeah, and selling it. There's still
Oh.
illegal weed
Why?
because there's lots of states that don't have it legally.
Oh, and then they're going over
yeah.
out of state.
I'm sure there's lots of 17-year-old idiots taking weed to Nebraska and selling it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
they're actually kind of smart.
Entrepreneurs.
I mean,
That's
that's
right.
hustle, right? I mean,
That
that's
is-
what Jay-Z would have done.
And that's what I'm talking about.
That's
I'm
an
not
8-hour
gonna
hustle.
like that. Exactly.
Cool. Well, now we know a lot about your wants and desires and what
Yeah.
you'd father your child be like,
what you'd dather.
What
What
you'd
you'd
da-
fear.
what you'd fear with your child.
Adam, we do have to have you back like in 6 months though, and then follow up
Oh,
on this
sure.
podcast.
I know.
and
The,
see-
That'd be
the
fun.
best thing is that your listeners can't see your guys' faces, but every once in a while there'll be a question where you guys are like, oh, that is an adorable
That's so
answer.
cute.
You're so sweet.
Oh, your
stupid.
optimism. Yeah, exactly. So that's been nice for me to experience.
You know what's interesting though? Like I of course you block out a lot of what happens in those first several months,
Right.
which you'll see later. You'll be like, how did I do that?
Yeah.
But every stage is so different and so new and so challenging in its own right. And we just were at this, it's actually wonderful to talk to you and be reminded about those early days, because that's where so many of our moms are right now. And that's,
sure.
That's what our show is literally for. That crazy, we don't know what we're doing. We're so tired and we're so hard on ourselves, time of parenting.
Good. Every parent's just like, enjoy this. It goes so fast. I'm like, enjoy what? Like, enjoy him not being able to tell us anything about what he needs and not sleeping. But you love it. So I'm glad I could give that to your listeners. I hope they can sympathize and identify it. I'm sure they can.
Yes. Sure. I just want to know, are you faced with any sort of like insurmountable fears that kind of crept up on you that you never thought you'd have?
Yeah, they're downers, but I worry, like, I got mental illness in my family, and I worry about, like, passing on genes like that. Because you just, like, it's theoretical, and then the kid's out there, and you're just like, I don't want you to be as OCD as I was, and, like, is this too, you worry about the bad parts of you that you're passing along. So, and that's now, like, very real, but I don't know. All you can do is hope for the best. It's like, you can either just use that to not have kids, or you can have kids and be like, we're just going to roll the dice and hope everything's great.
Yeah. I mean,
which is kind of choosing optimism over pessimism. So
as you should.
That's how I'm doing it.
All right.
And speaking of mental illness, can you talk a little bit about your book?
Yeah. I got a book that came out a few months ago called Tragedy Plus Time. It's about my life and growing up, and my sister who died by suicide, and her mental illness and her struggle. So it's pretty real for me and immediate, inner circle family stuff. Her nickname was Lee. Her name was Lydia, and her nickname's Lee, so that's why it's Malcolm Lee.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so you just go with it. But it's a heavy book, but it's a good book, and I'm proud of it.
And you're going back on the road to promote the book?
Yeah, because the paperback comes out in May, so you do like another round of promo and all that. So yeah, in May I'll be doing that.
Do you know any specific cities that
I know New York, but nothing's really set up yet.
Okay.
It's weird. Like the publisher is Simon & Schuster, and I was like, we're going to be touring all over the place. And they're like, unless you're David Sedaris or Stephen King, nobody comes out for authors. And I was like, got it. So,
and also you're paying your own way.
Right, exactly. I was like,
have fun buying your own plane tickets to that.
Exactly. Yeah. So limited run around to a few cities, and going to do some stand-up around it and stuff like that. But yeah.
And then tell us about Those Who Can't.
Oh, yeah.
Season 3 just came out.
Yeah, our TV show Those Who Can is back on the air. Season 3, Mondays on TruTV. Episode 4 just aired last night, and there's 13 episodes, so it's nice. It's nice to have it back on the air. Mm-hmm. It's I enjoy it. It's dumb in the best ways possible.
Well, and if you guys don't know, Adam is one of the creators of the show as well. So this really, it began as a project that you guys filmed the first version of it on your own here in Denver, and it got picked up by Amazon?
Yep, exactly.
And then it got picked up, and you kind of had to go back and reshoot and recreate this entire show, and they've just let you have a show. It's amazing.
It's me and 2 other Denver comics, Ben Roy and Andrew Orvidal, and we just DIY'd our way into a television show, which now is in season 3 on TruTV. So it's a literal dream come true. It's awesome.
The best thing is 2 of you still live here in Denver.
Yeah, Andrew and I both live here, and Ben's moving back.
Oh, he is.
Is he?
We're all not very Los Angeles friendly. So, yeah, it's been very cool to kind of achieve it from here, which is hard to do, as you both know.
Yeah, we're so proud of it, though. We just love living here, and we're so proud of your show and what you guys have created. It's so awesome.
It's so good.
The feeling's mutual when I see you guys selling out theaters everywhere, and it's like, that's just a little Denver duo doing their thing. It's great.
Just doing our thing. Well, we'll see you guys at the Mother's Day show, hopefully, if you're in town.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, you gotta get that as a present for your new mom, wife.
Nice. Taken care of. Good looking out.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us. You are an awesome dad.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. I needed to hear that.
We're on tour.
We got a tour update.
Tour update.
Whoop, whoop. We're getting to the point in the tour where I start to forget what cities we've been to. Starts to all kind of get a little crazy.
Well, I believe we will be going to Salem, Oregon on Saturday, which is an hour from Portland, an hour from Eugene, somewhere in the middle there, at the beautiful Elsinore Theater. I'm super excited. Keep saying so that's exciting. And please stop. And then the next show after Salem is Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta.
So we need to get the word out on the ATL. We're going to be at Variety Playhouse February 23rd. It's a rock venue, but it's going to be a seated event. And oh my god,
shut up, Tracey.
And so if you know any moms anywhere in the Atlanta Giganto area or any parts of Georgia that are drivable to Atlanta, tell them to grab their breeder friends. It's really, we haven't been to the South very much at all. So if you haven't seen us down there, come on, check it out.
Come on and do it.
Let's do it. You have to stop doing that. So then March is a big month. We have
Indianapolis, then the next night Grand Rapids, and then the next night after that Royal Oak, Michigan. And then at the end of the month we're in Boise, which we were just told at the Fort Collins show is Boise. Is that that's the
you're supposed to pronounce it Boise.
Boise. So we're going to Boise at the end of March.
So exciting. So follow our tour page on thepumpanddumshow.com and all the tickets are for sale. And then this week, tickets have gone on sale for the Mother's Day Eve show at the Paramount Theater in Denver.
And dance party.
And dance party right after the show. It's every year. It is such a hoot. This is our 7th annual. I just called our show a hoot.
It is a hoot.
It's a hoot and a holler.
It's such a fun time.
It is such a fun time.
It's becoming a Denver tradition.
We did 2 years at the Gothic and then moved to the Paramount 2 years ago. So this will be our 3rd year at the Paramount. 1,800 moms, dance party, 7:30 show. You're still going to be home by midnight to wake up and have your Mother's Day on Sunday. So buy tickets. They went on sale this week.
Yeah, they're going to go fast. So get your breeder friends together. And check us out on our Facebook group too, Band of Mothers Facebook group. It's been super fun. We just did a really fun giveaway. So there's we're starting some perks for the Facebook group, which is fun.
Love that. And honestly, it's been so lovely. They're such fun.
It's truly a Band of Mothers.
Yeah. I love it when people post things they're just proud of or that went well. I just love an area of positivity in this crazy mamasphere.
But then other people that just have questions and all the help that's come to aid. And it's such a beautiful little space on the internets and I'm real proud of it.
Yeah. So join Band of Mothers on Facebook and we will see you next week.